Welcome to the Jazz Roundtable, brought to you by Live at 0 BPM, with your host, Grammy Award-winning percussionist and mallet player, Billy Hulting. Tonight's guest, Bernie Dresel. If you care to donate, click on the donate/tip jar link in the description or on our website at live@0bpm.com/tipjar. You can also tip on Venmo at ZEROBPM. And now, let's get to the music with your host, Billy Hulting.
Hey, everybody out there in internet land. Thank you. We've got another Jazz Roundtable. Believe it or not. Yes, we're here. And I know we don't post the guests till it gets closer because cats are busy, so we sometimes it's a little bit late notice. But we have an amazing guy here tonight. I'm super excited about this. And, but just so I say, we are 100% listener supported. So tips make a difference. If you want to leave us a little something, I'll put some links up there in the chat rooms and we'll get right to it. Let's bring on Mr. Bernie Dresel. Hey, Bernie, how are you?
I love it how whenever we hang out, you always call me Mr. Bernie Dresel. It's so weird, but I like it.
Well, because I have such an amazing amount of respect for you. You're not just...
Since it's a round table, I brought this round table.
Wow.
At least to sit next. Where is it? There. Which way? Wow. There it is.
There it is.
To sit next to us.
You've already gone farther than any other guest.
I know.
Hey,
well, I had to make up because we're not multiple guests. It's just me and you.
Yeah, I know. It's not as round. It's more like a line table, I guess.
You know what? It's more of a battle between me and you. And I am ready.
Are you?
I'm not pulling off the gloves. I'm putting them on. So I'm not going to pull any punches with you, Billy. Yeah, I'm a straight shooter. I'm honest, and unless you ask me something I don't want to answer. But yeah, wow. I'm ready.
That's good promo, and I have a graphic that matches that. So, but I'm a lover. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So
I've heard that.
Yeah, it's.
You are.
Yes, but we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. One, you have a release concert tomorrow night, which we'll get to. But let's just start from the beginning. Mr. Bernie Dresel is a young man growing up. Where did you grow up?
Well, that would be in a house.
Okay.
Usually.
Good start.
In Sharon, PA.
Ah.
Okay. So when you drive through the Pennsylvania, the turnpike or the highway, and you see West Middlesex, Farrell, Pittsburgh, it's always Sharon, PA. For some reason, PA is always added with the comma to our city name where I grew up.
Okay.
But yeah, I did start. Most people start off as a small child. I started off as a very, very large child.
Wow.
It was odd, and I've kind of gotten smaller since then.
Wow, that's amazing. So, well, when did you start playing music? And did you start with the drums, or what did you start with?
I don't know really what I started with because I was listening to music. I had a record player. My grandmother bought me Meet the Beatles. That was the Capitol Records U.S. release of With the Beatles. Mm-hmm. And I saw them on Ed Sullivan. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, where is it? There, right back there is the post. That's the poster of Hard Day's Night back there because it was such an important beginning for me. But I would be faking to a toy guitar singing Hound Dog by Elvis. I'd be out on trash cans banging on them and singing. So I was pretending to play some guitar, dancing around. But obviously pots and pans and spoons were huge at first at Grandma's house.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where my parents looked at me hitting things and making noise and said, "He's a genius. Look at him hit things." And they tried to get me in at lessons at 3. He's too young. Lessons at 3.5, too young, etc. To 4.5. Okay. Mark's Music in Farrell, PA, Farrell, which is now in Hermitage, still going, 55 years later. Mark's Music, and did the trial lesson with my teacher, Bob Bedell. And after the lesson, they said, it went well. You should have brought him in earlier, and then 4.5 is the joke. But I think it worked very well for me because I was so shy. believe it or not, am
Yeah.
I shy now, Billy? Is that what
I
comes to mind?
I
No.
don't believe you, but go ahead.
No. Right. So I was shy. Someone would ask me, "How old are you?" And I'd whisper to my mom, I'm 327 days old. I would whisper that. So I was shy. So that meant in a lesson, I was quiet. I listened well,
Hmm.
respected authority, unlike today.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that worked well.
That's great. And then I mean, like every other drummer, I'm sure you started with just a snare drum, or did you, start out reading music, or how did you get your starts?
Well, again, it's interesting what you remember when you're 2.
Hmm.
What do you, and I remember this big drum set my dad got for me. It was used or somehow, and pre-eBay, not eBay.
Yeah.
And so that bass drum to me, to this day, I don't know how big it was, but it seemed like it was 48 inches tall. I don't know, because I was so small. So it seemed huge, the bass drum. But when I started lessons, my teacher said, okay, get rid of the drum set because we're going to work on hands and a pad. And so, oh yeah, there was also, I had all those toy drum sets before that from like Penny's and Sears. And back then, now that they have plastic heads now, back then they were cardboard paper heads.
Wow.
So you can imagine how long that lasted, bam, right through them, So that's why my dad finally got me a real drum set, but then we sold it. So I studied privately on a pad, rudimental drumming, hands, for about a year until I got a real snare drum. And for some reason, Santa knew I wanted that.
Wow.
And he brought me a snare drum.
Wow, that's
snare
awesome.
Drum with a little probably splash cymbal kind of thing.
Now, was your snare drum, was it silver sparkle, or what color was it?
It was silver metal. It was an aluminum snare.
Oh, wow.
I can't even remember. I still have it. I forget what brand it was. I think it was Pearl. Which was really like not a good brand then.
Right, then,
in 1964, yeah. So, and then 4 years of lessons later, Santa brought me an Olympic a premier drum set.
Wow.
By Olympic, like their intermediate 20 by 12 bass drum. And then I had a real drum set, yeah.
Wow.
But never took drum set lessons, really.
Interesting.
It was always snare drum and hands, and then timpani and mallets. And
did you
was never...
Did you just pick up the drum set by listening and imitating, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not really like we would transcribe tonight. It was just like, whatever, play along,
right.
And maybe busier than it was, should be, it wasn't just the groove. No one's there telling me, no, simplify, Bernie. I was just all over the place, probably.
Yeah.
And, but what was I going to say about that? Yeah, so I play along to a record player that is not, no headphones. So trying to stay with that. Not to mention all the bands there, whether it was the Beatles, the Monkees, or the Green Beret. I had that.
Wow.
Oh, the Green Beret. Here's your music, people. I don't know the words, though. But it was, like a march. So I would just play along to that stuff. But there was no click track. So all those drummers and bands, it moved around just a little bit. So to try and play to it, I could be more perfect and they might move, or vice versa.
Right.
So it was hard to stay with it and hear it,
Then when did you start? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then I started like trying to solo on the drum set or whatever because I was doing drum corps and rudimental drumming. And so I would just, the cadences I had learned or whatever, I would put it down to the drum set, like maybe Steve Gadd would kind of do like a march with the kick drum accenting, but I would, whatever we played as cadences, I would kind of do that if the toms had it, blap, blap, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da, or whatever.
What did
just playing a march.
What did you play in the marching band, in the drum corps?
Well, usually I was snare drum.
Okay.
And usually I was like 8 and everyone else was 16, kind of thing. But my first year of high school, because I got it, usually it was 10th grade, you'd be in the high school marching band, but in 9th grade, my band director goes, let's get them in there now,
Oh, wow.
some fresh meat,
Yeah.
Bernie, let's get him in there. But he didn't want to take the snare drum off all these seniors and juniors, so I played a brand new thing they had just gotten. I think it was Ludwig Silver Sparkle.
Yeah.
Like tritones.
Tritones,
But they were baritone. They were huge,
Wow.
like bass drums. And I'm like, marching down through by Niagara Falls with this huge, it's just unwieldy, like it had wings,
Yeah.
So it wasn't like those real tight quads and high pitch. They were like bass drums practically. Yeah. But it was usually snare drum. Yeah.
Well, I know that, Billy Cobham used to talk a lot about, getting your chops in drum corps and that sort of thing and applying it to the drum kit. But and then here you are. So when did you start playing with other people playing drum set?
Well, I played in a band where I was in 7th grade, and two of the guys from Farrell, PA, were in a different junior high, rivals, really. Sharon and Farrell, like rivals in sports, etc. We had like a trio, and our card said Starbreaker, hard rock to polkas. And you had a business card for your band.
Of course. Yeah.
Here's my business card as a Starbreaker. Yeah. And so, you play the Elk Slides, the Moose Club, whatever, some high school dances. And we eventually expanded to 3 more horn players and then another guitarist. And we were able to do more like tunes like Chicago or Earth, Wind and Fire that had horns and stuff. But I had always kind of played in the stage bands in junior high. I remember junior high playing in the concert band, Jesus Christ Superstar. It was a big drum feature.
Yeah.
And then we put a drum solo in it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I had to jump off screen to fix something really quick, but let's get into...
your hair looks better now.
It does. But we have some videos and stuff to play and some tracks because you apparently have a big show tomorrow night. Let me see if I can find it. It's don't tell me it's right. Oh, here we go. Sorry, there it is. That's your big your Bernie birthday bash. But you call it the Bernie Big Band. Bernie, tell us the official name.
I do not.
You call
Billy.
it just BBB.
No, read the poster. Read it. Fourth line down.
Fourth line down. Oh, BBB featuring Bernie Dresel. Okay, that's what I thought.
There's the name. I made a mistake.
Featuring Bernie Dresel. Okay.
I remember like at the Rippingtons featuring Russ Freeman, and I thought, okay, well, I don't want to call it what you said, the Bernie Dresel Big Band. It's like every big band
right. Sounds
like that. And so I didn't want the name Big Band in it in case I didn't want a big band anymore. I could have strings in it or like the second record, Burn, 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 had the Los Angeles Clarinet Choir playing with us.
Oh, cool.
So it wasn't just a big band. So, but a lot of times it is. But so the BBB featuring Bernie Dresel is the name, and nobody can remember it. They all want to change it. But my idea was that there would be some improv by the crowd.
Right.
And about what BBB stands for, etc. But I didn't realize I was gonna not like people not remembering the name.
Yeah, well, it's a conversation starter. So we just spent 2 minutes on, but it is now nobody out there watching will forget it.
No, yes, they will.
Well, yes, tell us about the shows tomorrow. You're promoting the new album, and you're at Vibrato. So tell us a little bit about the show tomorrow. Who's playing?
Okay, so the BBB featuring Bernie Dresel is playing. So we got 4 trumpets: Tony Bonsara, Dave Richards, Aaron Janik. You put me on the spot. Remember all my friends' names: Jeff Bonnell. And Jamie Havorka is going to come in, special guest on one tune. He plays on the recording. The new record's called The Pugilist. That's where is it? There it is. That's me over there with the boxing gloves. So if you know what pugilism means, or you can guess because of the cover, it's someone that fights with their fists. Okay, and there's that's the title track. The Pugilist is written by one of our trombonists who wrote 5 arrangements and tunes His name's James McMillan,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote The Pugilist, Jim McMillan. And he's playing trombone. Alan Kaplan, Ryan Dragon, and
Wow.
Julianne Grau is
Wow.
on bass trombone.
They're very cool. I know them all. And Jim used to actually coach one of the big bands at Northridge when I was a student there a million years ago. So that's awesome.
That's nice.
That's quite a lineup you have there. So,
But it's not done.
you're not done. There's more?
But wait, there's
more.
Saxophones. How could you forget that?
Oh, you can't forget the saxes.
Okay. Brian Scanlon on alto and soprano. Kirsten Ekins on alto. Rob Lockhart and Tom Lure on tenor. And Brian B. Dog Williams on Barry.
Oh, wow. That is killer band.
Now, there's more. There's a rhythm section.
Oh, my God.
So
who's in that?
On piano, nobody. That's another thing. I didn't want piano in the band because 99% of big bands have a piano. So the chordal thing from the rhythm section is guitar. And on the album, it's Andrew Sinowiec. But playing the part of Andrew Sinowiec is the Polish pronunciation. Playing his part tomorrow night at Vibrato in Bel Air, or Los Angeles, California, Herb Albert's club, will be Grant Geisman.
Okay.
And on the bass, the upright slap bass from Serbia, and from the rockabilly group, gosh, what's her name now? Oh gosh, I just said it today. But his name is, I have to practice pronouncing it, George Stiapovich.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a killer band. We'll have to give them a big round of applause.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's it. 16 people with Bernie Dresel on the drum.
Okay, and it's 2 shows tomorrow night?
It is 2 shows. One at 6:30, and which is, I don't know, it might be sold out now. It's darn close.
Yeah.
If it's not. And then there's some definitely tickets left for the second show at 9 o'clock.
Very cool.
So you come in, have dinner at 8:15, 8:30, and then the show's at 9.
Well, let's
come join us.
Let's play a little bit of the title track, okay?
Yeah, the Pugilist.
And, I don't have a graphic for this, so you can do interpretive dance, or I'll put some screenshots of the album up, and well, here you go.
Okay. Pow!
Okay. You can just stop it. Yeah.
That's written by James McMillan.
Oh, cool.
That's the title track of the album, The Pugilist. Now, it's interesting. This is our 3rd album. And each album has had a different recording story.
Oh, please.
The first album was recorded live at Joe's, Great American Bar and Grill.
Oh, really?
In Burbank. There's the Blu-ray. You can get it autographed. That one's autographed. I wrote someone's wrong name on it, so I kept it. So if there's anyone out there named Steve, maybe I'll give you $10 off on this one. Okay, so that's live in Burn. We recorded it live in front of an audience. No fixes, warts and all. We recorded 18 tunes and then picked 14. And so that was the deal there. Live, literally live and burning. Get the pun on burning now. And then the second album was recorded at Capitol Records, and that's called Burn, Burn, Burn. That's me. See, am I on the cover? Barely. I'm invisible with sticks, and there's my head, my hair and glasses on the bass drum. But Burn, 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 that was recorded at, I did all the drums alone first at Sunset Sound.
Okay.
And then we recorded the horns at Capitol Studios. So that was studio album. Now, the Pugilist, because of the pandemic, and we're all like segregated, is that the right word? We're in our homes, cocooning alone.
Yes.
So much. So we learned, as you know, many of us, to record, just do our own recording, be our own engineer in our homes. And everybody recorded their parts individually, not together.
Wow.
So I played first to like MIDI tracks and a click, and fake MIDI tracks of what the horns would play.
Did you create those MIDI tracks yourself?
I did not. The writers would do
okay.
it. Yeah, that did the charts. There's like 6 writers on this album. So then I'd send it to the lead trumpet player, Dave Richards or Jamie Havorka or Tony Bonsera. Have them just play alone to the MIDI. Then, okay, now trumpet 2. Okay, now 3 and 4. Okay, now Alan Kaplan on trombone. And now Brian Scanlon on alto. Now fill in the bones. Now fill in the saxes. Bringing up finally with Barry and trombone at the end. But nobody playing together, which is not how humans make music.
No. Now, when did you do the rhythm section? After you were done? Before the horns got it?
No, I had them. I had to think if the bass was ever because the bass is upright bass. Okay, so I have to go back through this. What did we do? And it's a fretless instrument that's not a definite hard pitch.
Right.
So for the horns to play to drums and bass, that the pitch might be a little swirly at times. So I just had them play to MIDI bass, drums, and finally, once the final 10, 11, 12, 13th horn is, they're not listening to the MIDI anymore. They're just playing with each other. And hearing and then we put the bass on. Then we put on guitar, and I told you, no piano, Billy.
Right.
No piano. I'm telling you. But the last 2 albums have had just a little bit of keyboard coloring of like B3, Rhodes, Wurlitzer, vibes possibly, but not that piano sound that is so found in big bands. So then this album, way different. I said I would never have a vocalist. And when the little 21-year-old vocalist comes up to me, I think do you need a vocalist sometime? I see you don't have one. and then I say, look him in the eye and go, we will never have a vocalist. This band features the drums, that's me, and the horns soloing and playing the melody. And then some of them just kind of wither away, and some of them, one person got very upset with me.
Really?
But that was okay. They need to know it's not always, people love vocals, right?
Oh, they do.
They love the drums. These are the tribal things that go way back to caveman, vocal, communication. We all have that instrument in us, vocals. We all have the ability to play something, on a table or clap or whatever. So that's hits with everybody. But this album, on 2 tunes, I thought, okay, stepping out from the band, we're not inviting someone, come up for one song.
Right.
Carl Saunders sang a tune written by Nan Schwartz called Positive for the Blues. He's one of our trumpet players and trumpet soloists. He sang, I tested positive for the blues. So it's a little tongue-in-cheek about COVID or testing. Testing, really. It could it could be anything testing for it. And so he sang that and scatted instead of trumpet solo. And then we did one Frank Zappa tune called Zombie Wolf, where Tony Bonsera, one of our other trumpet players, lead trumpets, he sang. I mean,
Tony is an absolutely amazing vocalist.
I go, okay, so let him sing. He's in the band already.
Yeah, no,
he's
that
there
makes sense.
Every song. He's not, come up for one song.
Right.
So we did Zombie Wolf, and you'll hear Tony on the album too, and at the show tomorrow night at Vibrato. Although if you're watching this later, like 4 days from now, you won't get to come to the Vibrato show, but you can buy the album Pugilist, The Pugilist, Amazon, my website, BernieDresel.com.
Yeah, I'll put that link. I'll put the link in the website.
See,
Yeah,
it's
Bernie
one
Dresel.
S. One. It's hard to point.
I know it's
One
hard.
S.
But so we have a kind of a cool video of you doing
Mhm.
something at the studio with the title track, right? The Pugilist
Oh,
title track.
all right.
Do you want to set this
So,
up before we show it?
yes, yes.
Okay.
First of all 3 albums, even though recorded in LA, were mixed in Belgium.
Mm.
And we mixed them in stereo for, downloading, not Spotify, not Tidal. I don't do that. But like iTunes Store, or we're going to have a thing where you can download tracks on my site, BernieDresel.com. But what was I going to say about it?
And this is your kit from the session, right?
Well, part of it, but we'll get to that in a second. So we went to Belgium because they're the competitors to Dolby Atmos. It's called Oro 3D, and it's immersive sound 9.1. Instead of 5.1, your 2 speakers in the front,
right,
2 in the rear, and your center for movies, hearing car crashes behind you. That's surround sound. So we mixed it like that, but we also mix it with height. Like the trumpets are higher than the rhythm section in the front.
Oh, interesting.
So you got 2 front stereo and 2 rear stereo up high. And that gives you a cube of sound. So we mix it there in Belgium, in Mol, Belgium, in Oro 3D 9.1. So for surround sound. So the title track, which we're going to show you a little clip here, it was not kicking. It's supposed to be a punchy tune. And it was maybe the least punchy sounding the way I had it pre-mixed before we went to mix it. I go, we need to have it punch more. So Wilfried, who was engineering for us then and is the inventor, creator of Oro 3D, he goes, okay, let's put some speakers in the studio, in the room, not the control room, and mic those with Decatry, it's called, like stereo with the center, 3 mics up high, and a couple other mics, like DPAs, or what were they, Neumann at 149, no, Neumann 50s or 49s, whatever they are, and mic the room being filled up by the band. I think like Van Halen did that too, like where they mic like speakers in the studio to give a little more live and punchy rock and aggressive room sound. So we thought, oh, that sounds great. And then the co-producer, Gary Reber, said, let's put it on every tune. Let's do that. And Wilfried goes, no. Just that one tune. That's the only one that needed it. So we're going to put it on there. Okay. So here's just the drums from that track we heard from the Pugilist. You're going to play, I think, where
let me play this little video.
The room. Yeah, let's see that.
Come on.
You see the mics there up high on the right. That's the tree. That's the tree miking them from a distance. And we had her walk through just to give a little varying thing to the sound. She was the second engineer.
Oh, interesting. So that was there to bounce the reflections a little bit?
Latte was there, yeah, to kind of make it.
Interesting.
I'm joking about that part.
Okay.
Okay.
She seems so small. How much reflection?
Exactly. She's young, and it's interesting. Latte could hear 14K.
Really?
And none of the adults could hear 14K. Like there was one of my mics that I had on a recording on like a second snare drum mic had a little bit of a high frequency. I don't know what it was. But we couldn't hear it. It's like, well, if you can't hear it, who cares? But she and the other young engineer that was like 23, another second, they go, oh yeah, we hear that sound all the time. It's like,
you sure they weren't messing with you?
They could have been. But I think it's just it's not just drummers. It was just adults lose a certain amount of frequency sometimes up high.
That's great. Hey, so let's take a quick break, and I'm going to say hi to some people who are watching on the web.
Yeah.
We have the first couple of people were, of course, Toby is here. Hi, Toby. And Wayne, who's one of our new regulars. He's from Wisconsin, and he says he's seen Bernie play at least a dozen times when you were with Brian Setzer.
Wow. Wow.
And he has a question, which we'll actually get to. He's in Fort Atkinson. And also Carlos sent a bunch of fire emojis.
Wow.
And then let's see, we got Kim is here. Kim is another one of our regulars. And Toby, Wayne, Phil, of course, Phil from the Great White North is here. Larry Lafette, I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm sorry, Larry, if I missed it. But he wrote that Bernie is the general on drums. And we also have Andre, who's out there. And of course, Andre is our most consistent viewer and tipper. He sent a tip in. So like I said before, we're 100% tip based. Whatever you can do sends in, helps pay the guests. It helps keep the lights on, that sort of thing. And there's no amount is too small. I'm telling you that up front. No amount is too large either. So, but while I'm taking a quick break here, I'm just going to do my upcoming schedules thing. Then we're going to get back to a lot more videos of Bernie. But let me just jump on this real quick. Where is this? There it is. Yeah, so kind of exciting. This is the schedule pretty much to the end of the year. David Becker Trio is coming in this Thursday. And on the outro, you'll hear that Richie Garcia is playing, but he can't make it due to a family emergency. He's okay. Everybody's okay. Just he couldn't make it. So Chris Blondell is playing with him, and Ahmet Turkmenoglu. And then we're taking a week off for Thanksgiving, so enjoy yourselves. Feast with your family. Don't discuss politics. You know how to do this. And then Jeff Pfeiffer's coming in. He is a young sax player with a 6-piece band. It should be really fun. He's really got a unique thing going. And then the Jazz Roundtable number 17, which is the ever popular To Be Determined. That's being followed up by Wonder Group, which is David Hughes, who just played last week, along with Ben Thomas on vocals and percussion, Farmer Greif on keyboards. I think he sings also. And Chris Wabich is back on drums. And then the following Thursday, we're going to do the Holiday Jazz Show, which is Jeff Miley and Brad Rabuchin. They came and did some duo stuff for one of the Jazz Roundtables, and they liked it so much, they offered to come in and do a duo for that. That should be really fun. Then we are taking the rest of the year off, except we're going to do... Actually, we'll do another Jazz Roundtable, and then on the 23rd, I will do the final Best of 2021 Part 3. It's a clip show. It's a lot of fun, and we answer questions. We can talk to people online. We may even have some guests drop in on us. So, and then I think we're going to take the first 2 weeks of January off because I'm retooling a bunch of stuff for the show, trying to make it bigger and better and all that good stuff. So anyway, let's get back to our Mr. Bernie Dresel.
Mr.
That's
Bernie
right. Okay.
Dresel.
Well, let's take a look at this other video we have. It's you with what you want to talk about this one? The Espresso Express?
Oh, yes. But before I forget, I remember the band's name now with the wonder called Wikipedia of George. He plays with Tiger Army. And he even used to play in a band with Lemmy, if you know who Lemmy is. And in fact, he and I played with Drake Bell at one point, if you know the old show, Josh and Drake. So we go back a ways. But cool. He almost played with Brian Setzer at one point. But I want to have slap bass in the band. So not 100% of the time, but like maybe 25%, because that's part of my history with Brian Setzer Orchestra and rockabilly. But I don't want it all rockabilly. So that's really great having George. I mean, George has only played one gig with us, you know. So and never any of these new tunes we're playing tomorrow night. So this is a new kind of push with him.
That'll be exciting.
He's just so good. So I used to teach at UNLV, and I met the wind orchestra there. They have a great wind orchestra, and they ended up commissioning a drum set concerto for me to play and record. And so most concertos are like piano, violin concerto, trumpet concerto, maybe percussion concerto. But drum set concerto is pretty rare. There have been a couple written, but one I remember it's just almost like a pops concert with the drums playing groove.
Right.
So I wanted them to write this concerto for wind orchestra, which is like a wind ensemble, where the drum set is the featured instrument, but there's no pitch. Like
Right.
I'm not sticking a xylophone up there or tuned cowbells. That it's all non-pitched instruments, so which is rare for a concerto. And we rehearsed it and played it at UNLV for the very first time, right like a month before COVID lockdown for the first time. So almost 2 years ago. We're just getting ready to perform it again in February at UNLV, and then record it in March, where we were trying to record it before, but then COVID hit and that killed it. So here we go. And it's a 3-movement, 15-minute concerto. We're going to play a little bit of it. There's 3 movements. The second movement's like a slow movement.
Right.
And you might say there's maybe like some West Side Story, Bernstein type influence to the writing. Yeah, play a
Well, I'll play a little bit from the
is-
top, and then we'll
Yeah.
stop for a second, and I'll try to find the third movement and play a little bit of that.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Anytime. There we go.
The Espresso Express. I like double espressos.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me see if I can jump ahead a little bit, see if we can find that third minute. I think we said it was at 9:15 or something it started.
Maybe get in around 12 minutes. Maybe get
Okay.
the last couple of minutes. See what's going on there. Might be drum solo time and then the final. I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
here's about 12 minutes in. Let's start from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, the in-house audience loves you also. And I just, you got to let that one roll to the end. It's, you mentioned the rockabilly thing. You played here like 7 or 8 times with the rockabilly trio. So, if you're enjoying the show, you want to see more about Bernie, you just go to our archive page. I think this is show 90, 89 or 90. This might be 89.
And my dad is 90.
Oh my gosh. So I think this is show 89 and Thursday is show 90. But if you go to the archives page, they're all there, and there's some really great ones. But I see we have about 10 minutes left with Bernie because he's got a race to get something done for his show tomorrow night. But a couple things. Now, you had some stories. You toured with Brian Setzer also.
Yeah, but I'd like to do something first.
Okay, do that.
Never done on your show before. I'd like to have a staring contest with you right now. Okay, so let's see if one person drops off. Okay, there we go.
This won't work on the podcast.
All right, we'll do it another time.
We'll do it for one of the live shows. Sorry.
Okay,
I
Brian Setzer.
I literally have 7 screens in here that I'm working with right now, so I'm trying to, be engaged. But okay, yeah, tell us about Brian, that gig. How was that?
Well, I did Brian Setzer Orchestra starting in 1992 when he first put the band together. When it's like, hey, you want to play in this Rockabilly Guys big band? Oh, okay. Can you do it? I can't do it. So I couldn't do the first couple of gigs. And then Brian went, hey, let's try some more. How about that guy you originally asked? And then I could do it. So then I ended up doing it for 15 years, 1992 to 2007. I mean, the big moment was for the band, the peak would have been the album The Dirty Boogie, where it was like 3 million sales. It's right before iTunes hit, and what was that called? Napster and all that.
Right.
And so there was a lot of sales, and it was triple platinum. But one of the big moments, you were asking me, like, is there some story to tell? Well, most of the stories you can't tell, right?
Right.
Those would be the crazy ones.
I've been on the road, yes.
I've heard that. Okay. But one of the big moments that you think about is we're in Atlantic City playing there or whatever, and then we're going to go play Woodstock 99 the next day.
Wow.
So we're hanging out at the bar, gambling, doing all kinds of stuff in Atlantic City, staying up late. And we get on the bus and do a lot of hit and runs are called, where you get on the bus after a gig and travel all night, sleep on the bus. So we did that. Woke up wherever that was, Woodstock 99, in a field somewhere, and with some portable showers and things like that. But we wake up and go, okay, you guys are on in like 40 minutes. Oh, and Willie Nelson was out there before us playing. And then we came on, and then Elvis Costello played solo before us.
Wow. And
we were on the third day of Woodstock in 99 on the Sunday. I think it was Sunday, the final day. And so we play. It's like 300,000 people almost like watching. So it's like the classic thing you've seen on many things as a kid, going, wow, that's a crowd.
Yeah.
So, and there would be 2 stages. One, like where everyone would come up to. Then we finish and they all migrate to the next stage. And then 300,000 people move like 100 yards, for the next, while the next band sets up on that stage, But so after we finished, I went out with my new digital camera. They were new then.
Yeah.
There was no iPhones yet. I had a digital camera. So I'm taking photos, all the garbage that's on the ground and stuff. And I get closer to the stage. I'm getting closer to the stage, taking these photos, and I go, ooh, that smell. Ugh. So the bathrooms weren't close enough to the stage. So some people would just, this is the one that ended in riots because people were mad how they were treated. Bathrooms weren't close enough. Bottles of water were too expensive.
Right.
Isn't that weird that you pay for water
Yeah.
anyways? Okay. All right. But like $20 back then for a bottle of water,
Yeah.
and it's really hot. And so people were getting pretty angry. So, but we finished. And then I remember Brian and we both like baseball. So we were playing catch there while some other band's on. Seven Dust, they were called. Seven Dust. The band that would go, a band that comes out, doing the head bob for like maybe 2.5 tunes, and then they can't keep it up for a whole set,
Right.
But this energy, whoa, at first, oh my gosh. And then they go, okay, we're done with that. But we're playing catch, so that was memorable. And then we get on the bus, and we had like some feed of Woodstock that was like what do you call it? Like a pay-per-view. And we watched it on the bus as we were leaving, seeing the Red Hot Chili Peppers play. They closed it, and they played Fire. And that's where everyone started setting fires and rioting, and we're watching this on the bus. We had gotten out of there.
Wow.
But it was a memorable rock concert festival to be a part of. But just looking out at a crowd when we're playing and seeing a 8-year-old there, or grandma, or rockabillys, or punkers, or yuppies. Remember there were people called yuppies. So we had a wide variety of people that would come and just enjoy the show, and something for everyone. Kind of a thing of us rocking and swinging the big band. I mean, it was a big band.
Yeah.
But not jazz. It's more like Elvis, 50s Elvis, rockabilly meets 40s Krupa swing, and then put a little Keith Moon, Wild, Reckless Abandon on it, and the groove of Ringo, and just put it all in a pot, and that's kind of what I did with it and what we did.
That's very cool.
But that was a memorable.
I bet.
But it was so great to be a part of it, because it wasn't just playing someone's music off their record. We were a part of creating it, and no one else was really doing that. There was kind of a swing movement at the time with like Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Royal Crown Review, Squirrel Nut Zippers, someone else I'm forgetting, but there was a big five, and Brian was already established from playing with the Stray Cats from 15 years earlier.
Yeah.
But there was this movement, but no one was doing all what we were doing with the big band attached to it. And so it was very cool to have created that hybrid, but not something like that led to, okay, now I'll go play in the next rockabilly big band. There was none. So,
Well, I know in town, you're very, very well known and respected in the studios. You do a ton of stuff. You do a lot of mallet playing in the studios and the drumming and all that sort of stuff. And just the versatility. Did that start when you were young, getting into music and getting into jazz? Or were you just interested in everything? Or what was the catalyst?
Yeah, so I played, like we talked about drums, but then I started playing alto sax when people, fourth grade, pick up, band instruments, at least in Sharon, PA, it was fourth grade. And then, okay, I'm thinking about this as a career. I'm going to take piano. That's something you do. And that'll help my mallet playing, marimba. And so I started piano before marimba in 7th grade, and then theory and all that. And, of course, I was always concentrating more than piano or saxophone. But, marimba-wise and timpani, I was getting, preparing to audition for college. So that was a big thing to play. Orchestral percussion. It wasn't until I got to Eastman in Rochester, New York, where I studied congas and hand percussion, even though I had congas when I was in 7th or 9th grade.
Right.
I didn't know how to play them really. So Frankie Malabe came in and did some lessons. I don't know if you know him from Cuba.
I know the name, but I've never met him.
Yeah. So the grandfather of congas,
Well, we got to wrap things up now. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else you want to say to the audience? Well, they have a couple of quick things. Joyce hi Joyce. She's one of our new regulars. Also, she said she's seen you play with Kathy Siegel Garcia, and during the drum solo thing, she said it did have a West Side Story feel, and you're very dynamic. So, then where is the guy whose name I mispronounced? Larry, I'm going to guess, is it Lafata?
Larry LaFata.
Lafata. Okay. He is amazing on the concerto, and you certainly are. But do you have a closing thought, Bernie? Anything profound or not to say?
Well, I think, what we've just gone through with COVID and all that, and all us musicians being down for the count mostly, it was a very hard time for everybody. And I get a little emotional about it too, sometimes when I'm talking about it, whether it's people we lost or all the hardship that everyone went through, including me. The hardest thing is to sit at home and not get to play for an audience. I do a lot of studio work, sure, but I love playing live for an audience and creating something just then, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So to not be able to do that is very sad, when you're really living for that. When I saw the Beatles play, I didn't go, oh, I can't wait till they stop playing for crowds and get in the studio and just do that. I thought, wow, look at the crowd reacting and screaming and loving it, and they sound great. So this was a tough time, and we're starting to pull out of that. My band is finally, after a year and 9 months, the BBB featuring Bernie Dresel, the name, is back in action. I hope we stay in action and can keep this going, and that we all can get through this safely and get back to being humans, enjoying being together.
Well, it has been great having you here. It's been great having you come play the series, which we started because nobody had a place to play. And I appreciate you being on the show. I'll have to have you back on a drummer night. There's so much more to talk about. And so we're going to say goodnight. I just want to remind you, we are tip-based 100%. So if you can leave us something, every little bit helps, even if you're watching an archive, even if you're listening to the podcast, which will be out sometime soon. I'm a little late on the last one, the bass night, but
because if you don't tip, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, Bernie's coming for you. He's got the red gloves and everything. So,
and if you want to tip Billy. He does a great job here putting this all together and bringing people to all over the world to hear this music and discussions. And then also, I don't know if I can do it here, but there's like boxes of CDs that you have to, and DVD or Blu-rays that you buy.
Yeah.
And then, I wrote a check. This wasn't the recording. This is just to buy these. $6,700.
What?
For 3,000 CDs and Blu-rays. And go, okay. Well, you go to my website and get one.
I will put a link to that on the newsletter that goes out next Monday. So I'll put that link to the BernieDresel.com, and I'll get the proper links from you when you have time and by Monday, and I'll send it out on the Monday email. So,
but I do want to say this.
Yes.
This is what we went through. Recording this at home, and to get through the process and finally have your baby born with a hard labor we went through to try to make it happen in a way this was tough work, and got us through it to do it too, and and we want you to enjoy it. And I'm not putting it on Spotify.
Good.
You gotta buy one, okay? And you'll enjoy holding it, reading it, and putting it in the player. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Bernie. Mr. Bernie Dresel, thank you so much. I'm going to play the outro video, and we'll see you guys. Everybody come back Thursday. It's going to be super fun, I promise.
Thank you, Mr. Billy Hulting.
Okay, all right. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us at Live at 0 BPM. These videos will be archived on YouTube and Facebook, so tell your friends. These Jazz Roundtable shows will also be released as a podcast, so please subscribe. Coming up on Thursday, November 18th, it's the David Becker Trio featuring David Becker, Ahmet Turkmenoglu, and Richie Garcia. Showtime, 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific. And as always, it's free, though donations are greatly appreciated. Go to live@0bpm.com for details and to sign up for our mailing list. Also, find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you soon.